ओम वक्रतुंड महाकाय सूर्यकोटि समप्रभ निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा। ओम श्री महागणपतये नमः। ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ओम। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। अस्मद्गुरुभ्यो नमः। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं। शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ओम श्री मेधा दक्षिणामूर्ति स्वामिने नमः। ओम सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांति। हरिः ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ओम। ओम भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैः स्तुष्टुवागुंसस्तनूभिः व्यशेम देवहितं यदायुः। स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्ठनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु। ओम शांति शांति शांति। हरिः ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ओम। So namaste once again everyone.
Namaste Guruji.
Namaste Guruji.
Namaste.
Namaste Guruji.
Namaste. So we have entered the second mantra of the second Mundaka. We will read the Sangati Bhashya. Nama Rupa Bija Bhutat Avyakritakhyat Swavikarapekshaya Parat Aksharat Param Yat Sarvopadi Vedavarjitam Aksharasya Swarupam Akashasya iva Sarvamurti Varjitam Neti Neti Ityadi Visheshanam Vivakshannaha. So as I said, this is the introduction to the second mantra of the second Mundaka. And in this second Mundaka, the complete teaching is about Akshara Brahman, the Chaitanya that is going to be imparted. While the main focus is on revealing the features of Nirguna, Nirakara, Nirupadika, Shuddha Brahman, the Upanishad starts this section by presenting Brahman as Jagat Karanam, which we have already seen, which, as I said, is only for teaching purposes, before the Upanishad gets into the challenging topic of presenting Nirguna Brahman. And therefore, the fallout of presenting Brahman as Jagat Karanam, which is seemingly dividing one non-dual Atma as Jivatma and Paramatma, having Karana Karya Sambandha, is not the truth from the standpoint of absolute reality. It is mithya. And therefore, after presenting the Tatastha Lakshanam of Brahman as Jagat Karanam, the Upanishad immediately enters into the topic of presenting the Swarupa Lakshanam of Brahman as Chit Satchit Ananda. And from this second mantra of this section onwards. And we briefly discussed the introductory bhashyam to this mantra in the last class. Now we will see the Sangati bhashyam in detail. So Bhashyakara starts by saying Nama Rupa Bija Bhutam, which refers to Ishvara. Nama Rupa means the world, the Jagat. Bija means the seed, the cause. Bhutam means in the form of. So Nama Rupa Bija Bhutat means from the cause of this Jagat, means Ishvara, who is in the form of this Jagat Karanam. And that Ishvara has got several names. One name is Avyakritam. So that Ishvara, who is known by the name Avyakritam also. Avyakritam means the causal one, unmanifest one. And Ishvara being the Karanam is always unmanifest. Ishvara becomes manifest only through the Namarupa Jagat. So he says Avyakrita Akhyat. Akhyat means called as. So Avyakrita Akhyat means called as Avyakritam. And that Ishvara is Parat, superior one. Parat goes with Ishvara. Parat is adjective to Ishvara. So that Ishvara is superior one. But superior from which standpoint? From the standpoint of his own product. Swavikara apekshaya. Apekshaya means in comparison or from the standpoint. Swavikara refers to what the entire universe. What the entire universe is Swavikara. Swavikara essentially, literally means one's own modification. Therefore, the idea is that the causal Ishvara has modified himself into the product Jagat from the standpoint of Jagat. And that Ishvara is called Avyakritam, is Paraha, superior. And that Ishvara has got another name also, which is said in the fourth line of this mantra. What is the name? Aksharaha. See, these are all now definitions which the Upanishad is introducing, and we have to be very careful in understanding these definitions. Because the name Aksharaha was used by Upanishad earlier to denote Akshara Brahman, the Chaitanyam, the Akaranam Brahman. Now the same word Aksharaha is used to denote Ishvaraha, the Karanam Brahman, Sakunam Brahman. Therefore, we must not confuse the two entities just because they are referred to by the same word. These are all the subtle points which we have to observe, and we will come to know only when we learn from a qualified guru. Otherwise, we are bound to get confused. There it was said Akshara Brahman, and here it is said Akshara Ishvara. There it referred to Nirguna Brahman, here it is referring to Saguna Brahman. So this confusion can easily arise. So Ishvara, Nama Rupa Bija Buddha Ishvara, Avyakritakya, that Ishvara is Swavikara Apekshaya, that is Jagat Apekshaya Paraha superior. So 4 descriptions are given for Ishvara. Then he says Aksharat Param Yat. Yat means that which is, Param superior. Aksharat from Aksharam, which is another name for Ishvara given in this introduction. Because normally Param in Vedantic language refers to Nirguna Brahman. Therefore, from Ishvara's standpoint, what is superior? Bhashyakara describes that which is superior to Ishvara. He says, Sarvopadi Bheda Varjitam. Varjitam. Varjitam we can translate as free from, bereft of. Bheda means variety of. Sarvopadi, Sarva Upadi, all types of Upadis. Karya Upadi and Karana Upadi. All types of medium of expression. Because the moment Upadi comes, the medium comes, Brahman will come down to Vyavaharika level. But Paramarthikam Brahman is not associated with any Upadi. And therefore he says Sarvopadi Bheda Varjitam. And this Nirgunam Brahma is Aksharasya Eva Swarupam. And this Nirgunam Brahma alone is the Swarupam. The nature, the innate nature of Aksharam, the above mentioned Ishvara. Now, as I said, we have to wade through these portions very carefully because the same word Aksharam is used in Upanishad and also here Bhashyakara also uses for both Sagunam Brahma and Nirgunam Brahma. So whenever we here in this context, when we see Aksharasya, we have to understand as Ishwarasya. Therefore, Nirgunam Brahma is the very essence behind the Sagunam Brahma. Nirgunam Brahma is the very adhishtanam of Sagunam Brahma. So we can translate Swarupam as essence or adhishtan. The foundation, the base. Then he further describes this Nirgunam Brahma as Akashasya iva sarva murti varjitam. Akashasya iva means like Akasha, like space, which has no form, which is free from all forms. This Aksharat Param, this Nirgunan Brahma, is Varjitam, free from Sarva Murti, all form. Here Murti means form. And which Nirgunam Brahma is Neti Neti Ityadi Visheshanam. Visheshanam means description or Lakshanam. So, which Nirgunam Brahma has the description in the Upanishads as Neti Neti? Neti Neti means na iti, na iti. That, because of Sandhi, it becomes Neti Neti. And Bhashyakara quotes this phrase from Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, where because Brahman cannot be positively revealed through words, therefore Brahman is revealed by negating everything, every object in the universe. So one object is taken, is this Brahman? Na iti, this is not Brahman. Then take another object. Is this Brahman? No, this is not Brahman. Like that, you take every object in the universe and go on negating that object as Brahman. So it signifies that the ultimate reality, Brahman, cannot be defined or limited by any physical form, concept, or attribute, and thus can be only understood through negation. In fact, Brihadaranyaka Upanishad is a very vast Upanishad, but it's a very, very profound Upanishad. In Gurukulam and all, we are not taught the whole Upanishad. Sometimes some portion we are taught. So this neti neti, this phrase, this occurs in a section called Murta Amurta Brahmanam. There are several Brahmanams. In fact, the Upanishad has got 6 chapters called Adhyayas. And each chapter is divided into sections called Brahmanams. Like here we are called Khanda, 3 Mundakas and 6 Khandas. Like that there, Adhyayas are there and sections are called Brahmanams. So when I said the word neti neti has to be split as na iti, the word iti refers to drishya prapancha. And drishya prapancha is divided into stula, visible drishya prapancha, and sukshma, the invisible drishya prapancha. So the 2 netis are there. First neti negates the visible drishya prapancha, and second neti negates the invisible drishya prapancha. And therefore, the 2 netis negate the whole drishya prapancha. And when the entire drishya prapancha is negated, what remains? Normally, we will say nothing remains. And that is what some Buddhists, they have got the Shunyavada. They say when you negate everything, nothing remains. Only Shunyam remains. But the Upanishad says that is not the correct understanding. When the whole Drishya Prapancha is negated, what remains is Trik, the Sakshi, Nirguna Chaitanyam, which is called Brahman. So that entire concept, Bhashyakara brings into the introductory Bhashyam by quoting this Neti Neti. So Neti Neti Ityadi Visheshanam Nirgunam Chaitanyam Vivakshan. Vivakshan, with the intention to reveal that Nirgunam Brahman. Vivakshan is from the verbal root vaksh, which means desirous of telling. So the Upanishad desires to tell. Upanishad desires to reveal the Aksharam Brahman. And why should the Upanishad do that? Because in the first mantra, Karanam Brahman is revealed. And we may think that that is the ultimate Brahman. And therefore, to remove that misconception, in the second mantra, Aksharam Brahma as Nirgunam Brahma is pointed out. And therefore, the actual teaching of Nirgunam Brahma starts only from the second mantra, which is a very important mantra. And Bhashyakara quotes this mantra very often in his Bhashyams. So, Vivakshan Aha means declares, presents. So, the Upanishad presents the Aksharam Brahma with an intention to reveal the Nirgunam Brahma, which is the ultimate reality. This is the meaning of the introductory portion of the Bhashya. Now we will go to the mantra and we will read. All ready?
Yes.
Divyo Murtaha
Divyo
ह्यमूर्तः
मूर्तः
Purushaha
Purushah
Sabhahyabhyantaraha
बाह्यभ्यन्तरः
Hyajaha
यजः
Apranaha
Apranah
Hyamanaha
Yamanah
Shubhraha
Shubhrah
Yaksharat Parataha
Yaksharat
Paraha.
Aparah
So I will just give you the Padacheda before we go into the word meanings. Divyaha hi amurtaha Purushaha Sabhahyabhyantaraha hi ajaha Apranaha hi amanaha Shubhraha hi aksharat paratah paraha. So first we will see the gist of the mantra. If you look at it grammatically, this is a very simple mantra. Because certain mantras are there, they are Vedantically very simple, but grammatically very tough. And certain mantras are grammatically simple, but Vedantically tough. And of course, there are certain mantras which are tough both ways also. So here grammatically it is easy because all the words are in nominative case describing Brahman. Therefore, Nirgunam Brahma, Aksharam Brahma is what? He says Divya hai, hi Amurta hai, Purusha hai, Sabahya Abhyantara hai, hi Aja hai, Aprana hai, hi Amana hai, Shubhra hai, hi Aksharat Parata hai, Para hai. So most words are in the first case. For Sanskrit students, I am telling. So it is this is a description of Brahman. And there is no Kriya Pada if you have noticed. And therefore we will have to supply the Kriya Pada. We can supply Asti to each of the description. Divyaha Asti, Hi Murtaha Asti, Purushaha Asti, like that we can add Asti to every description. And secondly, here all words describing Brahman, which is the subject, and therefore they all appear to be Visheshya, adjectives, though really they are not adjectives. So, if we want, we can take them as like adjectives, as words qualifying Brahman. And since there does not appear to be a subject in the sentence, because when you are taking others as objective, we require a subject, isn't it? A noun is required. We can take the word Purusha as the subject. These are all how, in terms of understanding. If you understand the essence of the mantra, these are all what you say grammatical gymnastics. So even though Purusha can be taken as describing Brahman also, like an adjective, because Brahman is not mentioned anywhere. So we can, if as a substitute, we say the 12th man, we take Purusha as the subject, but at the same time, Purusha as also can be taken as adjective also. But for simplifying the whole thing, let us take Purusha as the subject. Therefore, Brahman is here presented as Purusha. And the third aspect we have to note is the word he, indeed, is repeated with almost every word. The word he has got two meanings. One meaning is indeed. The other meaning is because. And both meanings will fit in this context. But Bhashyakara, in some places he will take the meaning of he as indeed. At other places he will say he is equal to yasmat, because. Because when we come to the Bhashyam of the mantra, there he will say he is equal to yasmat. And because of that, let us stick to that meaning what Bhashyakara takes. He is equal to because, not indeed. So now let us see the word meanings. Divyaha. Divyaha generally we translate as divine. But if you think about it, this translation does not convey very much, except that divine means godly. And if somebody asks, what do you mean by godly? We will struggle for a description. So the word divya means that which is shining, resplendent, luminous, self-effulgent. So consciousness, which is Brahman, which is Purusha, is shining, self-effulgent. It is evident by its own light, does not require any other light to illuminate. So the first description is that which is effulgent is Purusha. Bhashyakara will give two more meanings which we will see when we see the Bhashya. Amurtaha means formless. Everything in the world is consisting of name and form. Whereas this Purusha is formless. Therefore, Amurtaha. Formless means what? It does not have any boundary. It is not limited by any boundary. Every form is limited by a boundary. That is why space does not have a boundary, so it is formless. And as I was saying in, I think, Bhagavad Gita class, space cannot have a form because we are told by scientists it's going on expanding. So we can take the meaning of Amurta as limitless also. Then Purusha. We have already discussed Purusha can be taken as the subject matter of this mantra. That is Brahman. Or we can take the meaning of Purusha as one of the descriptions of Brahman, which is what Bhashyakara will do, the Bhashya. We will see those derivations when we discuss the Bhashya. But here, if we want to take an independent meaning of Purusha, we can say that which is pervading everything, or that which is dwelling inside the body is Purusha. Then Sabahya Abhyantara. It means outside and inside. Bahya means that which is outside. Abhyantara means that which is inside. So that which pervades both Bahya Prapancha and Antara Prapancha, outside world and inside world. Now, what do you mean by inside world? Inner world. Inner world refers to minds, thoughts, emotion, prana, etc. So Nirgunam Brahma is associated with both inner and outer world. How? As their very adhishtanam. In Narayana Suktam we see Antar Bahischa Tat Sarvam Vyapya Narayana Stitah. In fact, if you study all these things, you will go round and round, everything will keep on coming. Many suktams, we will, if you study the suktam, recite it every day, do adhyayanam, it is like nididhyasanam only. Same Upanishad message is repeated in different words. So as their very adhishtanam, the very substratum. Now these words, Bhakya and Abhyantara, outside and inside are relative terms. But they can be used in relation to something, isn't it? When you say outside, it should relate to something outside of that. Inside means relate to something inside of that, isn't it? For example, there is a classroom with desks and a bell, which is outside the room in the school. Now, with reference to the classroom, the desks are inside, bell is outside. But with reference to the school compound, we will say both desks and bells are inside. So when we say inside and outside, the question would be with reference to what? And in the spiritual context, in the context of this Atma Swarupa Vichara, generally these words are used with reference to this body, mind, sense complex. So when we say outside, we mean outside the body. And when we say inside, we mean inside the body. Inside the body means pancha prana, sense organs, different states of mind like swapna avastha. All of them are inside. Mano, buddhi, chitta, hankara, inside. And everything external to the body is outside. And this Brahman or Atma is presented in all that is inside the body and also present in all that is outside the body. And how it is present? Adhishtanataya, as the very substratum of everything. And how do we appreciate that Brahman? As Satchidananda, pure existence, pure consciousness, and limitlessness. Superlative happiness. So Brahman is pervading external and internal world. Then Ajaha. See, these are all words which, have got 2-3 meanings. The word Ajah means a goat also. No? Goat is called Ajah. So we should not wonder whether Brahman is like a goat. So here Ajah means na jayate iti Ajah. That which is not born is Ajah. And Brahman is never born. Brahman is birthless. And that is why, we celebrate all Shankara Jayanti, Vyasa Jayanti and all. We cannot celebrate Brahma Jayanti like Janmashtami, Ramanavami, etc. And reason is, it is Ajaha. Bhashyakara will explain further. Here it is enough to know that Brahman is birthless. Then Apranaha. Brahman is free from prana. The body has got prana. Brahman does not have prana. That means Brahman does not breathe, does not have breath. And Brahman does not have the physiological systems like circulation, digestion, etc. So Brahman is aprana, free from pancha pranas, prana, apana, vyana, udana, samana. These 5 pranas are not there in Brahman. And Brahman is amanaha. Amanaha means free from the mind. Even though the word amanaha can be translated as mindless. But that meaning has got some negative connotations, isn't it? Because we normally say, mindless, thoughtless act on somebody's part. Mindless kill, like what is going on now in the Middle East. Mindless killing, mindless bombing. So therefore, we don't translate it as mindless. Therefore, we will say Brahman is free from mind. Free of mind also, whatever it is. Therefore, Brahman will not have mental problems like us. Because mind itself is not there. Our mental problem, all our emotional problems are because we have a mind. So Brahman will always be healthy, both physically and psychologically. No digestive problem, no blockages of arteries, no emotional issues. So by describing Brahman as these 2 words, Ajaha and Apranaha, also Amanaha, what is suggested is Brahman is Stula Sukshma Sharira Varjitaha. Brahman is free from gross body and subtle body. Then the next one is Shubhra. Again, the word Shubhra has got a meaning of white also. And normally in our culture, white stands for purity. So Shubhra means pure. So Brahman is pure. It does not have any impurity. Physical impurity is not there. Stula Sharira related impurities are not there because it is Ajaha. Sukshma Sharira related impurities like Raga Dvesha, indigestion problem are not there. Karana Sharira related impurities in the form of Punya Papa is also not there. Therefore, Shubhra. So since we have already dealt with Stula Shariram and Sukshma Shariram, in Ajaha, Apranaha, Amanaha, here Shubhra we can take it as indicating Karana Sharira Rahitaha. And also Brahman is free from ignorance, which is also related to Karana Sharira. So Brahman is totally, completely pure. And we must note one thing, that Brahman has not become pure by some method of purification like water, fire, etc. Brahman by very nature is pure, ever pure. And in the final analysis, when I understand Aham Brahmasmi, I am that Brahman, just imagine what it can do to your self-image. This is the beauty of Vedanta. Then Aksharat Paratah Paraha. This Purusha, this Brahman is Paraha, superior, compared to what? Aksharat, compared to the Maya Upadhi, which is also imperishable in the relative sense. How it is imperishable? When products are there, this Maya is there. When products are dissolved, still Maya is there in seed form. Therefore, Aksharaha. But it is relative Aksharaha because in the wake of knowledge, Brahma Jnanam, it stands negated. Paramarthika Drishtya, it is understood to be non-existent, only as an appearance without existence of its own. And compared to that Maya, which is relatively Akshara, Brahman, this Purusha is Paraha, is superior. How it is superior? Because it is the very Adhisthana of that Akshara Maya also. It is lending existence to that Maya. It is lending consciousness and existence to that Maya to do her job and to do its job, and therefore Paraha. So Paraha is one adjective. There is another adjective, Parataha. Parataha means Parasmat. Parasmat means because of being superior to Akshara, Maya Brahman, this is Paraha. So we can take Parataha is the Hetu, the reason for Brahman being the most superior. And as we know, the cause is always superior to the effect. Which is what Bhashyakara also had said in the Sangati. Swavikara apekshaya, he said. So compared to its product, compared to its effect, which is Jagat, Maya is considered to be superior. And therefore Parataha. And compared to that superior Maya or superior Akshara, number one, Akshara number two, Nirguna Brahman, called Purusha, is Paraha, superior. So Nirguna Brahma, Akarana Brahma, Nirupadika Brahma is Paraha, is superior compared to this Maya, which, as I said, is superior compared to its own product or effect. So three levels of superiority, two levels of superior. Jagat, Maya superior, Brahman superior than Maya. So this is the mantra, words of word meanings, and different words are used to indicate the nature of Brahman. Nirupadika Brahman. And Brahman as such is of the nature of existence, free from modifications. And that existence consciousness Brahman is even the Adhishtanam of Maya, is presented in this mantra. Now we will see the Bhashyam. It is a bit long Bhashyam. We will read the whole Bhashyam once, and then sentence by sentence we will take it up. Okay.
Okay.
Divyaha
Divyaha
Jyotanavan
Jyotanavan
Swayam Jyotishtatvat
Swayam Jyotishtvatvat
Swayam Jyotishtvat
स्वयं
स्वयं
ज्योतिष्वात्
ज्योतिष्वात्
दिवि वा
दिवि वा
स्वात्मनि
स्वात्मनि
भवो लौकिको वा
भवो
लौकिको
वा
हि यस्माद्
हि
अमूर्तः
अमूर्तः
सर्वमूर्तिवर्जितः
सर्वमूर्तिवर्जितः
पुरुषः
पुरुषः
पूर्णः
पूर्णः
पुरुषयो वा
पुरुषयो
सबाह्याभ्यन्तरः
सभाभ्यन्तरः
दिव्यो ही मिस्ड आउट दिव्यो या मूर्त पुरुषः
No.
Okay,
दिव्यो
not there in you.
no we had started with Divya Jyotanavan only, no.
Okay.
Yes.
Nothing is missed
Okay.
out. Even if we miss out, Bhashyakara will not miss out. So Sabhahyabhyantarah
स्वाभ्याभ्यन्तरः
Saha
सः
Bhahyabhyantareण Vartate
आभ्यन्तरेण वर्तते
Iti
इति
Ajah
अजः
न जायते
न जायते
कुतश्चित् स्वतः
कुतश्चित्
अन्यस्य
अन्यस्य
जन्मनिमित्तस्य
जन्मनिमित्तस्य
च अभावात्
च अभावात्
यथा
यथा
जलबुद्बुदादेः
जलबुद्बुदादेः
वायव्यादि यथा नभः सुषीरभेदानां घटादि सर्वभावविकराणां जनिमूलत्वात् तत्प्रतिषेधेन सर्वे प्रतिषिद्धाः भवन्ति स बाह्याभ्यन्तरः ह्यजः अतः अजरोमृतः अक्षरः ध्रुवः अभयः इत्यर्थः यद्यपि देहादि उपाधिभेददृष्टीनाम् अविद्यावशात् देहभेदेषु सप्राणाः समनाः सेन्द्रियः सविषय इव प्रत्यवभासते तलमलादिमत् इव
Iva
आकाशम
Akasham
तथापितो
Tatapito
स्वतः
Swataha
परमार्थ दृष्टीनां
Paramartha
अप्राणः
Apranaha
अविद्यमानः
Avidyamanaha
क्रियाशक्ति भेदवान्
Kriya Shakti Vedavan
चलनात्मकः
Chalanatmakaha
वायुः
Vayuhu
यस्मिन्
Yasmin
असौ अप्राणः
Asau Apranaha Pranaha
तथा अमनाः
Tata Amanaha
अनेक ज्ञान शक्ति भेदवत् संकल्पाध्यात्मकम् मनोप्यविद्यमानम् यस्मिन् सोऽयम् अमनाः अप्राणः ह्यमनाश्च इति प्राणादिवायुभेदाः कर्मेन्द्रियाणि तद्विषयाश्च तथा च बुद्धिमनसि बुद्धीन्द्रियाणि तद्विषयाश्च प्रतिषिद्धा वेदितव्याः तथा श्रुत्यन्तरे ध्यायतीव लेलायतीव बृहदारण्यका 436 इति यस्माच्च एव प्रतिषिद्धोपाधिद्वयः तस्मात् शुभ्रः शुद्धः अतः अक्षरात् नाम रूप बीजोपाधि लक्षित स्वरूपात् सर्वकार्य कारण बीजत्वेन उपलक्ष्यमाणत्वात् परम तद उपाधिलक्षणम् अव्याकृताख्यम् अक्षरम् सर्वविकारेभ्यः तस्मात् परतः अक्षरात् परः निरूपाधिकः पुरुषः इत्यर्थः यस्मिन् तदा आकाशाख्यम् अक्षरम् Savyavahara Vishayam
Savyavahara-vishayam
Savyavahara-vishayam
Otam Protam Cha
Otam
Otam
Protam
Protam
Cha
Cha
Katam Punaha
Katam
Katam
Punaha
Punaha
Apranadimatvam
Apranadimatvam
Tasya
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 Ityuchyate
Ityuchyate
Yadihi Pranadayah
Yadihi
Pranadayah
Pranadayah
Pragutpattehe
Pragutpattehe
Purusha Iva
Purusha Iva
Svenatmana Santi
Svenatmana Santi
Tada Purushasya
Tada
Purushasya
Purushasya
Pranadina
Pranadina
Vidyamanena
Vidyamanena
Pranadimatvam Bhavet
Adimatvam
Pranadimatvam
bhavet
Bhavet
Natute
Natute
Te
Pranadayah
Pranadayah
Pragutpattehe
Pragutpattehe
Purusha Iva
Purusha
Iva
Iva
Svenatmana Santi
Svenatmana
Santi
Santi
Tada
Tada
Ataha
Ataha
Apranadiman
Adiman
Apranadiman
Paraha Purushaha
Paraha
Purushaha
Purushaha
Yata Anutpanne
Yata
Anutpanne
Anutpannate
Putre Aputro Devadattaha.
Putre
Putre
Aputro
Aputre
Devadattaha
Devadattaha.
So it's a very long bhashyam, and there is a purpose because this is the first mantra which is introducing Aksharam Brahman. So Bhashyakara realizes that when all these kind of exotic words are introduced to the student, so many doubts will arise. Because when it is said aprana, amana, and all that stula, sukshma, karana, sharira, varjitaha, naturally we can't conceive anything which is bereft of all these three kind of sharira. We can't conceive of anything which is without name and form. And therefore, there will be many doubts, including a basic doubt whether the Upanishad, what it is telling, is correct or not. And that is why Bhashyakara takes the trouble of explaining each word thoroughly in the introduction itself. Introduction means not the introductory Bhashyam, in the introduction, in the Bhashyam to the Upanishad, the Upanishad mantra itself. So that when we go to the next mantras and all, some of the concepts will be clear to us and the number of doubts may be reduced. And that is the purpose. And because he gives his own examples are there, which are very useful for our understanding. So that is why Bhashyakara is going into a length in explaining this mantra. So we must not think, oh, it's a very long Bhashyam and boring Bhashyam. No. Every word, every idea expressed in the Bhashyam is very important for a mumukshu, for a person who is looking for moksha, a person who is looking for Jivan Mukti. Therefore, we will go through this word by word explanation of the Bhashyam carefully. And if you get any doubts in between my explanation, make a note of it. We will discuss it in the Satsanga. Or as we proceed, some of the doubts will automatically get cleared also. Okay. So the explanation of the Bhashyam, we will take it up in the next class onwards. Okay. Now we will close. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Dhanyavadaha everyone. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Guruji. Namaskaram.
Thank you very much.
ಧನ್ಯವಾದ.
I have only one comment to make, if I
Yeah.
can make it. As we read this Bhashyam, we find that at least I find that there are many words which are familiar. But as you said, every word has a different connotation in this place. It cannot be, it has to be understood with reference to the context.
Correct. From a Vedantic context, it has to be understood, not
Yeah. I mean,
normal usage, you know.
when I say context, Vedantic context, so it cannot be just the same meaning which has been understood earlier.
Yeah. Certainly. Even if you know Sanskrit grammar very well, that's mistakes can occur rather. And whenever, for me at least, when I read the Bhashyam, it is as if Bhashyakara is talking to me. So that way, I really enjoy reading the Bhashyams. Anyhow, Sulekha ji, your hands are up. What is raise your hand. What is your
Namaste, Guruji. And thank you for today's class. I have a fairly long question, and I'm sorry if it's going to be a little long to read out. Forgive me. Today's class, you had talked about the cause and the effect, if I can just paraphrase, and that the effect is superior to the cause is superior to the effect. You gave the example of Nirguna Brahman is superior to Maya as an example. And my question is regarding that. In trying to understand and analyze the effect in order to be able to negate it and have the cause revealed is my question. So trying to understand the effect, whether it be a relative effect, in order to understand the absolute, you discussed in today's class, and neti, negation, as the way in order to be able to understand Brahman. So my question is even hard to put into words, so forgive me. How can we analyze our relative actions in order for the cause to be revealed? For example, in our speech, so I'm giving a very practical sort of question in some ways in order to get to the philosophical. For example, when we are speaking, to be able to analyze it, maybe not at that moment, but through contemplation, if we are careful and thoughtful enough, we may be able to come to the subconscious reason of thought. So how can we analyze Maya, which is relative, in order to be able to understand Brahman, which is the absolute? When, as you said, there are no words, everything is that we know is related to the body and the mind complex. Even if we negate and there's nothing left, how can that be everything? Question.
See, when you give the example of speech, you start analyzing, how am I able to speak? So first stage you say, because there are thoughts in my mind, I am able to speak. How do I get the thoughts? I get the thoughts because of the various experiences that I have or what I am witnessing, etc. Right? Now, you like that go step by step backwards. Then finally you will come to a stage where you will have to answer a question. What is it that is powering this thought, this speech, etc., for it to be expressed? You will come to a conclusion that it is because I am sentient, because I am alive, I am able to do that. And that conclusion you will come to when you compare yourself to a dead body. A dead body cannot speak. A dead body also, the person who died, he must have also experienced, witnessed everything when he was alive. But why suddenly he is not able to speak or bring out his thoughts, etc.? So what is the difference? What has happened when I was just a moment ago able to speak and next moment I am unable to speak? Or a person in one moment able to speak, the next moment he is unable to speak because he is dead. The difference is that earlier, in the first case, he was sentient. Now he has become insentient. Correct? When you come to that conclusion, then you start understanding what is this sentience all about. Is sentience something that you can define, you can see, you can feel? You can't. Isn't it? Sentience is just sentience. That's all. It power, it is like, like a electricity. Electricity, we see the fan running or a light, burning, bulb burning. We know by analysis that this fan is running because it is being supplied with electricity. Now, if you are asked to define electricity, you can probably define in all these ohms and the volts and things like that and all. But what is it that? Can you touch the electricity? Can you feel the electricity? You can only see the effect of that electricity. Similarly, you see a battery car, toy car, which is run on batteries. You may be able to see the car. You may be able to see the remote. You may be able to see the battery. Everything you can see. But the power which is coming out of the battery, which is making the car do all this, go up and down and all that thing, that you cannot see. But you cannot deny the fact that it is because of that power only that the battery car is working. If that battery, which is their physical battery, runs out of power, the battery car will not run. Even though there has been no change in the physical shape of the battery, no change in the parts of the car, everything remains the same. But that power of that battery, which is invisible, which can only be ascertained by us by the action of the battery car, we come to know that there is something like that called battery power, because of which the whole thing is working. Similarly, when you actually go to what is defining what is sentience, then you say, Vedanta says that sentience is nothing but chit, consciousness. Now, it is a Vedantic terminology, consciousness. You can give any name you want. As long as you understand that there is something which is superior to all these things, which is superior, that battery power is superior to the car, parts of the car, even the physical battery, it is superior. Because of that only the whole thing is working. So the cause is always superior than the effect. That is why in our culture also parents are superior than the children, isn't it? That's why we say children should respect the parents and things like that and all. Because they are the cause for the children. At one level, I mean, I'm talking rather.
Yes, yes.
So superiority, the cause is always superior as compared to the effect. And Maya is the effect. Maya is the effect in the form of this entire Jagat, whatever is there. So for that Maya also to in fact work to do its job, something is required. Maya needs to become sentient. So that sentience for Maya is provided by this consciousness, which we call Brahman. You can call it any name you want, your choice, as long as you understand. But Upanishad gives certain common terminology so that all the students understand it in the same way and also communicate it to the others in the same manner. Otherwise, you will say, I will call consciousness some other name. Somebody will give some other name. And so there will be confusion which is called. Everything will mean consciousness only, but then different people will have different understanding. And therefore, the Upanishads and Vedanta, all Vedanta texts and all, they give certain common terminology, common terms, so that you refer to them by these terms. So when we say Brahman or consciousness or Chaitanyam or Chit or whatever it is, that refers to the unseen power, unseen cause of this entire universe, including you and me. That is how you have to understand.
Thank you, Guruji. That's very beautifully explained, and I'll be thinking and contemplating this week. My further question, if I can ask, is we can understand the cause, we can understand the effect, or we can learn to see what the effect is. But the root cause, which is the root of what is this consciousness of Brahman, we can never understand per se. We know that it is powering everything, but to try and understand it, it can only be revealed, not understood. Is that correct?
Not a question. What do you mean by understanding? Understanding means knowledge. Isn't it? That is what is meant by we call by when we gain knowledge of something, we understand that thing.
Hmm.
Isn't it? So here, Brahman can't be experienced. So all that you require is that knowledge of that Brahman.
If I can add the point to what she's asking, you cannot perceive it, you can only perceive it, you cannot feel it, you cannot touch it, you cannot have the physical presence.
Yeah.
I think that's what she
Yes.
Yeah,
means.
you
Yes, no,
cannot
agree.
experience Brahman. You cannot do any of those things. But if you understand, like what is understanding when you see a battery car operating? What is your understanding?
There is an unseen
Because you have a
power.
knowledge that there is an unseen,
Yes.
untouchable power which is coming from the battery to complete for the car to work. That's all. That
Right.
is the understanding.
Yes.
So Brahman also is a matter of cognition only. It is not a
So
matter
that
of experience.
that awareness of that it exists.
Yes. That awareness
Thank you,
that it
Guruji.
exists and it is common to all. It is not just only in me Brahman exists.
Yes.
That is one Brahman That one Brahman is common to everything in this universe. Therefore, when we come down to Vyavaharika level, what happens? Once I have that understanding, I will stop seeing differences.
Yes. Yes.
I will consider everything, animate, inanimate, everything as being supported by that Brahman, and I will have the same approach, the same attitude towards everything. And that is what
Yes.
in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna will talk in the third third Shatkam, Samatva Bhava. And that
Yes.
Samatva Bhava is one of the very essential elements for you to get this, what we call moksha. After all, moksha is not some designation or anything, Moksha is a state of understanding that there is nothing superior, nothing inferior, everything is the same, and everything being same, I do not have any preferences, I do not have any likes, dislikes. There is no reason for me to become angry or upset with anything, where everything fundamentally is the same.
So that transformation that
Yes.
happens when you when we or when that transformation occurs, the entire Lokika life also changes. It when that understanding takes place, this
Yes.
automatically it would not in a short time necessarily, but through this commitment or through this focus, it it automatically starts to happen. That understanding automatically reveals so many
Now,
thoughts.
when you say life is
Thank you,
changing,
Guruji.
you have to be very careful here because it only changes for you.
Yes, yes,
It doesn't change for all others. So then what
yes,
happens is this whole knowledge is for your own consumption.
yes,
To the outside world, you will be as you were earlier, right? Sometimes when you when they observe you that you are not getting angry when you used to get angry earlier, they will ask you what is wrong with you, right? In fact, they don't understand that now things earlier it was wrong, now it has become right. So all these conflict confusions will arise rather. But
yes,
as long as you are having that happy state, that is moksha. That's what your goal in life
yes.
is, which is not other people's goal at all. So
It's very
even in
beautiful.
Vyavaharika, it is the attitude change, not actually physically your change in your behavior. Attitudinal change. The same thing, you now look at it from a different attitude. That's all.
Yes, the perspective broadens,
Yes,
widens, and deepens in
correct.
a way that, it's almost like when you are in say, for example, a car and a vista opens up a little bit more. You don't just see the road, you don't just see the street lights as an analogy. You start to see something that is beyond. The blinders slowly start to become removed somehow through that knowledge, the knowledge and the being interconnected. So as the knowledge grows, the being also seems to expand in some way. That's something that I'm seem to get from your classes and from the teachings. So I
Yeah.
appreciate it. Harihi Om. Thank you very much for answering these
Thank
questions,
you.
and
Thank you all. Thank you very
I
much.
appreciate. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you. The satsang was as illuminating as the class.
No, that
Yes,
obviously, this disease doubts and all will come. In fact, the problem with Vedanta is 100 times we listen, still we will suddenly have the same doubt. And that's why Acharyas don't tire. They explain it 100 times also. If you want, they will explain it. Because it has to go
thank
and
you.
sit inside your mind. It has to sit inside your buddhi rather, right? And it is not easy. Given that crores of births we have gone through with our current kind of orientation. Even in one birth, suppose somebody comes and tells me, from tomorrow your name is not going to be Ganapathy, it is going to be something else. For me to understand that I am not Ganapathy but something else is going to take a long time.
Yes.
Because I have been used to the name Ganapathy for the last 70 odd years. And then even when I know, initially I will know, okay, from tomorrow I am not Ganapathy, I am say Srinivasa. But when I go on the road, somebody say Ganapathy, I will respond immediately.
Yes.
Because that orientation is not very easy to go. And we have been identifying ourselves with this body, mind, sense complex through ages, through birth after birth after birth. Now suddenly in one birth, somebody comes and says, Upanishad says, no, you are not body, mind, sense complex. You are consciousness and you are Sachidananda. It is not easy to, absorb it and digest it. And that is why Upanishad after Upanishad, the same message is repeated again and again and again. Like imposition,
Guruji,
That's why the classroom and all that the teacher will say, write this 108 times so that it goes into your mind. Like that, it is like an imposition, repeating it again and again and again, tirelessly repeating it, then only it will go and settle down. And then we will really start living the words of the Upanishad. That is how the
yes,
whole
and
process
Guruji, I
is.
would also like to echo what Sitaramji said with the satsanga is always after the class, I find as illuminating or as it almost is, I would say the word refreshing, because there's a refreshment that there's a re-energizing that happens. And that's why many times or most times, as much as possible, to stay for the end of the class, whoever's question it is, because even in that other students' questions, something comes up that is so profound. So I find it, even when the class ends, I become very, very
The whole
happy to
purpose of
hear.
satsang is that only.
Yes,
you know,
because the other students and every student's
that depends
question
on each
may,
individual students rather. I mean, if they are interested, they will stay back. That is, Acharya will
yeah,
not
that's not,
comment on that.
no, I also am not commenting on
Yeah,
others. I'm only saying for my own self,
yeah.
to hear the questions often brings up a question I had in my own mind.
Yeah.
And so I'm very grateful for the questions that come up, because that a question may have come up in my mind and I may have thought, oh no, Guruji might be needing to go, or that maybe this question is too, whatever it is, to something. So I appreciate everybody's questions, because we can learn from everybody. You may be the Acharya, but the question of a student may also bring up something very profound.
Yeah, certainly. Very true.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, Hari
Hari Om.
Om.
Hari
Thank you
Om.
all. See you
Hari Om.
next week. Hari Om.
Thank you.